India's debt to GDP ratio is now at 14-year high. New Delhi, the union government debt soared to 58.8% of the gross domestic product in the fiscal year ended March from 51.6% a year ago, as economic contraction forced the government to borrow a record amount to meet a revenue shortfall. Finance Ministry data showed, prompting experts to raise concerns over debt sustainability in the medium term. The fiscal deficit widened to 9.2% of GDP in FY21 from 4.6% of GDP a year ago, as revenue receipts contracted 3%, with the economy shrinking 7.3%. The contraction, the steepest in independent India, is ascribed to disruption in economic activities caused by the first wave of pandemic. The union government debt includes the stock of total liabilities due to internal debt raised through treasury bills, bonds and securities, external debt mainly raised from multilateral institutions, and public account liabilities such as Provident Fund commitments and National Small Savings Fund. In the balance, the higher debt to GDP ratio in FY21 was mainly due to GDP contraction, said Devendra Kumar Pant, Chief Economist at India's Ratings. Debt sustainability has to be viewed from a medium-term perspective. Despite COVID 2.0, nominal GDP growth in FY22 would be closer to 14%. This will lead to debt to GDP falling at least by 1 percentage point. To have sustainable debt, strong growth momentum has to be maintained, which will also provide some relief to fiscal deficit, he added. In May, rating agency Moody's said India's credit profile is increasingly constrained by obstacles to economic growth, a high debt burden, and a weak financial system. Should downside risk to growth or the financial system materialize, negative consequences for India's fiscal strength follow. The longer the period of relatively subdued growth, the more likely it is that India's debt burden will continue to rise, and the crystallization of further contingent liabilities for the government in the event of renewed financial support to financial institutions would only add to the debt burden, it added. The 15th Finance Commission (FFC), its report said fiscal uncertainty is now at all-time high amid COVID. Nominal GDP and government revenues are contracting in FY21 and placing distinct upward pressure on union and states. Fiscal and debt positions. The upward pressure is unavoidable when growth destruction must be mitigated and income support extended. This is a reason to consider flexibility. These are the extraordinary times, it said while presenting the report last October.